Hi, you're very welcome. This is Claire Boyce here, finally with a reading for water signs, Scorpio, Pisces and Cancer. Although over the next coming months I will be doing probably one video for water, fire, air and earth signs, and one big video instead of little separate videos, as things are quite different now. We're in uncharted territory with the coronavirus epidemic. A lot of you are housebound and a lot of you are afraid. So I invite you to spend, maybe it'll be 1 or 2 videos, just a few moments a week, connecting in with your higher selves, to God, to the angels, whoever it is you believe in. And remember, water signs, if you're watching this and you are, then you are already aware of the power of cause and effect. You already know that our thoughts create our feelings and our feelings create our emotions. And the emotions have a ripple effect not only to our children, but to the vulnerable in society. So just a few times a day, turn off the news, turn off the media. And remember, it's important that you ground yourselves now. Like I said, the readings are going to be very different. But a lot of you have asked, where are your readings? So we'll have a look. Focusing on you got the children card here. Focus on your children. A lot of us have to learn how to homeschool our kids, and although that isn't, it's not easy, is it? As a lot of us have never done that before. So maybe spend the next few days connecting with your children. Remember, a good friend of mine said something to me the other day, that although the kids don't say anything, they're thinking it. Remember, the kids are used to hanging out together, and we're only in a few days of it. We've only got a few days, of no school and the isolation. Children might not say anything. Now I'm talking about teenagers, but they feel it. And they feel your emotions as well. So if you're freaking out and if you're panicking, your children feel it now too. They're used to having their friends call over. They don't actually understand why their friends can't call over. So it's up to us as parents now to teach our children to, 1, ground themselves, and to keep the minds quiet. And water signs, you are so emotional. You hold things in and then you explode. And you observe absolutely everything. So what I need you to do now, over the next week, if you are a mum or a dad, focus on the younger generation. And remember, even if you're not a parent, that we are being watched now by the youngsters on how we are reacting to this. Also, remember those vulnerable in your communities, maybe the old woman who lives across the road who has no family calling to her, or whose family can't call to her now. Maybe there's somebody down the road who never has visitors. Maybe reach out there as well. Because we cannot control this. No matter what we do, we cannot control this epidemic, but what we can do is control how we react to it. Do things with your kids. Don't just let them play on the Xboxes and the PlayStations. Make that time. I've done it with my youngest son here. I have made a time a day where we do the homeschooling. But also what I'm doing with my son is I'm teaching him a little bit of meditation as well. I'm teaching him how to calm the mind down. So make the most of the time that you have now in isolation, taking care of the kids, body, mind and soul, because it takes 3 parts. Turn off the media and restrict what they are watching as well, because their little minds soak up everything and they must have a billion thoughts going through our minds, but it's your reaction. How you're dealing with it is how they're going to deal with it. We've got feeling safe. while we're cocooned in our houses, it's important that we feel that. If you feel safe, you will be safe. Feeling safe, it's not just about, washing your hands and being in quarantine and keeping away from people. It's about feeling it. If you feel safe inside, we all know that fear-based emotions create a ripple effect and make us feel sick. Half the people I've spoken to have already thought they've had, flu-like symptoms because they're feeding it all the time while watching, all the symptoms constantly. If you're at home right now, please take a few moments in the morning to take a few slow, deep breaths in and blow out the fear. Fear-based emotions are not what we're about. They are not what spiritual people are about. And like I have said before, if you believe in God, call on God. If you believe in the angels, call on the angels. If you believe in connecting with Source, call on Source. Connecting with your higher self is key now. And you have to keep yourselves in check, mentally as well. It's paramount that you don't go under mentally. If you feel safe, that will ripple out. Because we know that our feelings create our emotions, and if you feel safe right now, which you are, that will also keep your body, mind and soul safe. Body movement. These cards are actually fabulous for this. I have so many cards and I didn't know which ones to actually use for this, because I did know it was going to be a totally different type of reading to what we're used to. I believe this pandemic is going to go on for a few months at least, or a couple of months at least. Keeping fit. Okay, gyms are closed, and we've all seen the funny ads of people making their own treadmills with oil and that, but you can walk in nature. Spend a bit of time moving. Don't just, lie on the couch or your bed watching, news. That's the worst thing you can do for your body, mind and soul. Go for walks. Encourage your children as well to go for walks. Encourage those in society to go for walks. Okay, you might not be able to touch people, but just encourage people to go out for a little walk when it stops raining. And it was a lovely day today, perfect day to go out walking. If you can't manage to go out for walks, go in your garden, exercise. Don't allow your minds, because when we're sitting there on our own, the minds start going, don't they? And before you know it, you have yourself completely convinced that the whole world is ending and everything is going wrong, and then you go into a lower, deep depression. Don't stay in bed either. If you stay in bed, you'll sleep, but every time you wake up, you'll get that panic, you'll get that sadness, and that's all you'll want to do. So if you're watching this under the covers, make sure you get up. Don't allow your heads to go crazy. Get up, walk. Do whatever it is that you need to do to keep yourselves mentally safe. So that's the body movement card. Make music. Now, I don't know what music you're into, but music can change your mood, can't it? I have Spotify, and I was bopping away in the kitchen earlier on and dance music on. Make yourselves dance. Do things that, people years ago always danced, always, did different things to entertain themselves before the internet. It's impossible to feel depressed and to feel low when you're dancing. So if you can dance, have fun with your children, laugh, play. Whatever you do, make sure you're doing it to raise your frequency. Because if you're staying on a low ebb, and especially for water signs who are so emotional, it's so easy for you to get tired, get depressed, and go to sleep and stay there. Make this time yours. The time you're spending at home, enjoy it. It doesn't have to be a disaster, and it doesn't have to be scary. Raise your frequency. And if you find yourselves with your head going and your head going a little bit crazy, recognize that. Recognize it and say, okay, if I sit here and I continue thinking this way, I'm going to stay that way. Now, for those of you who suffer from depression, and it's not an ugly word, and it happens quite a lot to the best of us. I too have suffered from depression in my lifetime. So it's probably how I know how to combat these, this isolation phase we're going through. You cannot allow this to defeat you. You cannot let this defeat your mind. You have to keep going. Don't give up. The Irish are strong. Keep yourselves mentally strong. Archangel Raphael, he's the angel, he's the healing angel. Taking the slow, deep breaths in the morning, maybe listening to calm, relaxing music. If you can visualize white light going in, maybe to your chest, where the coronavirus actually infects, and blow out black. If you imagine black smoke leaving your lungs, do that several times a day. The power of positive thinking can actually change a lot of things. Tap into the spiritual part of yourselves over the next week. Start to learn, maybe be honest with who you are. Maybe people who are into this tinfoil hat people, as you probably called us, maybe we're not so mad. Maybe keeping ourselves grounded and centered. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you can learn to keep your minds quiet. Maybe you can learn to meditate. Maybe you can learn to journey, as the shamanic people have done for thousands of years. There is something to be said about being able to leave this world, even if it's briefly, through meditation and finding a world of peace. And before we know it, we will be through this. We will get through it. And we will not only will be stronger mentally, physically and spiritually. And our children will learn from us how we kept strong during this frightening time. Don't focus on the fear. Don't be around people and don't listen to people who are going to go on and on about how scary it is. We know it is. We're not diminishing that at all. But we need to keep our frequencies up right now. Feeding the fear won't get us anywhere. So whatever it is you have to do now, make the most of it. Make the most of staying at home. Those of you who have to work, make the most of it. Remember, everything changes. This won't last forever. And when it's over, by God, you'll have stories to tell people, and your children will have stories to tell people. Have fun with it. Make the most of it. It's still your life. You're still in control of your life. It's just right now we have to do things a little bit differently, just for a couple of months. I'm Claire Boyce, and I really hope that my video helped. And I will be back doing a full video soon. So water signs, as you are extremely emotional people, call on Archangel Raphael for healing. Call on Archangel Uriel to keep your minds quiet and feel safe and grounded. And then your world will be your own little world. You will feel safe and grounded at home as well. For now, God bless.